So parallel is a pretty simple idea. It deals with two lines that have the same slope. The idea of perpendicular is the opposite of parallel, if you can be opposite to parallel. The big important takeaway when we're talking about perpendicular lines is that they're not lines that just cross anywhere. These two lines are not perpendicular to each other. Those are just called lines that intersect. Perpendicular lines intersect in a very specific way. When they intersect, they make right angles. In fact, they make 4 right angles. Lines that are perpendicular to each other always form right angles. In other words, they'll look like the corner of a page, right? They look like the corner of something, a sharp corner. If we look at the first lines that I drew, these are not 90-degree angles. I couldn't put the page of a book in there and have it line up with the sides of those lines. Really important, and students sometimes get that mixed up. They think crossing lines, any two lines that cross are perpendicular. That's not the case. Perpendicular lines have to form 90-degree angles. Now in Algebra 1, we don't talk much about angles. We talk about that more in geometry or trigonometry. In Algebra 1, we talk about slopes. So let's look at the slopes of two perpendicular lines. Here is a line whose slope is 2/3. I didn't draw that very straight, but up 2 over 3, up 2 over 3. The slope of my line is 2/3. Think about what a line perpendicular to that given line might be. Our original slope, I'm going to call it M1, is 2/3. So make a guess. What do you think the slope of a perpendicular line might be? It's related to that 2/3. Sometimes I have students guess that it might be 3 over 2. Well, let's take a look. If our line had a slope of 3 over 2, is that perpendicular? If I went up 1, 2, 3 and over 2, up 1, 2, 3 and over 2, those two lines are not perpendicular, right? So it's not 3 over 2. We might guess that it's negative 2/3. Well, let's see. If I was here and went 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, negative 2/3, those cross, but they don't make 90-degree angles. This is not a 90-degree angle. So not quite. It's not that it's negative, the opposite of that 2/3. But what we're going to do is we're going to put both of those thoughts, both of those guesses together. Our new slope, I'll call it M2 or M perpendicular, is actually both those things at the same time. It's negative 3 over 2. So if I start anywhere and go up 1, 2, 3 over 2 the other way, or down 1, 2, 3 over 2 the other way, now I've got that perpendicular line, that perfect 90-degree angle. Now I started from that point on the y-intercept. I don't have to start there. I could start anywhere on that line. Go up 1, 2, 3 to the left 2, or down 1, 2, 3 to the left 2. I get a line that's perpendicular to my original line. So what we say is that our slopes are, we have two things. They have to be the opposite, and by opposite we mean opposite sign, and the reciprocal. So not just one of those things, it has to be both of those things. Two lines are perpendicular if their slopes are opposite reciprocals of each other.